Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we got for you. The SEC versus Ripple. There's more Supreme Court talk, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about that. And guess what else we're going to talk about? The IMF. We're also going to talk about the BIS-Project IceBreaker. You're going to want to know about it. Somebody wrote a beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. And don't forget XRP Las Vegas 2023. The countdown is on, ladies and gentlemen. 60 days, 8 hours, and counting. Do not miss your opportunity to be in a room and to be able to ask questions with Jack McDonald, Nancy Beaton, Joe Endoso, so many incredible people. Virtual appearance by Jeremy Hogan. We got John Deaton, Eleanor Tarrant, Otto Nino. I tell you, the list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be remarkable. Look at all the incredible people that are going to be there. Look at this. And the list is still coming together. We're still getting people that are finalizing. I cannot wait to see everybody here and all of you as well. Unfortunately, this event will sell out. Tickets are moving very quickly now, and it's starting to pick up pace. So make sure you get your ticket. Either you can get the ticket for the Friday VIP experience, which is joining an annual membership of DPMG, and you get a free ticket as a perk for that experience, or you could get a ticket just for the general conference itself. Don't mess around. And we got limited room rates at discounted rates. You just click the link and book your room. The discount is built in. Don't mess around, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be an incredible experience. Let's start right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeff and Steve and Chip on the chain, and they're talking to the attorney here for Rosalind Layton, who tells us what he thinks is going on, and he wouldn't be surprised to see. Check it out.
But Justice Gorsuch took the opportunity in the case to sort of say, look, one of the problems with this kind of legislation and this kind of things that these agencies are trying to do, this was the Office of the Comptroller, not the SEC. But when agencies do these kinds of things, people don't have fair notice about them. So I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that Justice Gorsuch is picking up from reading the Wall Street Journal reports on the Ripple case. These are the kinds of things that percolate upward and get on their minds, and then they write about them. So I think it's really interesting and timely for Justice Gorsuch to be writing on the fair notice defense.
Absolutely. I tell you, and this is about the discussion of citing the Supreme Court ruling that has been submitted in support of Ripple's fair notice defense. Again, I think there's a good chance that this case could go to the Supreme Court, but that doesn't mean that Ripple gets the short end of the stick here. I firmly believe there's a scenario where Ripple gets the ruling that they're looking for, the SEC appeals it, and then it goes on and on to the upper level of appellate court, and then on to Supreme Court. That's just how well, what do I know, right? I'm guessing like everybody else is guessing. I don't know what happens. But those are my thoughts, and we're going to watch it to see what happens for sure about that. But let's go ahead and look at this. Should XRP Ledger fees be increased, ladies and gentlemen, to boost the XRP price? Well, let's take a look at this article very quickly here. And here's the article right here. Ripple's Chief Technology Officer David Schwartz has lent his opinion to a suggestion to raise the cost of transaction fees on the XRP ledger to reflect the value of transactions and boost the XRP price. In a series of tweets yesterday, David Schwartz gave his opinion while explaining his stance. Schwartz noted that though he responded in the affirmative to the poll that was put forth, he did not believe that the transaction fees should be utilized to manipulate the price of XRP artificially. However, he conceded that the transaction costs needed to reflect the actual cost it imposes on the network for more efficient resource allocation. Furthermore, Schwartz disclosed that he did not want the network to lose its edge as a low-cost, high-speed transaction blockchain. Nonetheless, he asserted that he did not also want node operators subsidizing transaction fees. My thinking is that if the transaction fee is less than the actual cost of a transaction, then we'll be destroying the value by executing transactions and discouraging people from running nodes, Schwartz surmised. Whereas if the fee is more than the cost, we're adding needless friction. So there you have that. And then he goes on here to say the XRP ledger is favored in payments due to its cheap and fast transactions, as we all know, and the average transaction on the network currently is less than a penny, taking 3 to 5 seconds to complete. So there we have it. You know, I love that David interacts with people from time to time about their questions and concerns about what goes on with the XRP ledger and things of that nature. There was recently Matt Hamilton and David Schwartz contributed to a thread that was talking about XRP being backed by gold, I believe it was. And, you know, I don't believe that that is a possibility. I don't believe it aligns with the ultimate use of XRP. I know a lot of other people do. I'm not trying to shut that down or wet blanket that. I don't see the need for it. You could just tokenize gold and use gold. I think XRP works best as a bridge currency, and I think it would work best if you had multiple assets on the ledger backing that bridge currency. That just seems like the best, most assured way to do things to me. But what do I know, right? Well, I'll tell you what I do know. Central banks show continued demanding gold in 2023, as per a recent report from the World Gold Council, which noted the world's central banks accumulated 31 tons of the precious metal in January. Well, that's a lot of gold. Now, I'm trying to do what I can tell you that, for me and Mrs. Backup. But man, what do they know, right? I haven't see again. Now, if we go to a layered system here, I don't think fiat money goes away. I think it turns into, physical cash turns into central bank digital currencies over time, right? And I think you shore up those digital CBDCs with things like gold backing and other assets. And I believe that's what the world and the banks and the central banks are actually preparing for. I believe there has to be some kind of transition to a new system that moves us from a debt-based system to a multipolar asset-backed system. And we'll see how that goes. If I'm wrong, I'll make the video. But I don't pretend to know when. But I do think that's where we're going. Meanwhile, in Australia, crypto legislation could drag out to past 2024 is what we're hearing. So we're going to watch that. Obviously, there's been a global push this year, and it's very noticeable that there is a global cooperation, certainly amongst the G20, to try to get everyone on board so they can close that window for arbitrage on regulation for cryptocurrency. This here from Molly Elmore, give her a follow, is the IMF suggesting that Ripple or Stellar or the solution to cross-border payments the problem? On March 3rd, the IMF released a 38-page paper in which they did highlight Ripple, XRP, and XLM and Stellar Foundation. And it's pretty interesting to me because I'm not going to go through this whole thread, which is obviously fantastic. You should read it. Molly is amazing. She does incredible work. But what I will say is that I do believe there's going to be some major role played here. And speaking of which, Dr. Martin Heisboik here from Uphold shares this about the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, the Project IceBreaker. Now, the Project IceBreaker it deals with cross-border payments and cross-currency transactions, but it doesn't say anything about Ripple or XRP or Stellar, for clarity. Nor does it say anything about any other token. But there is a theory that people are asking the question, could Ripple be involved, or is this a quant token thing, right? So people are also entertaining the notion that this looks like it could be quant that could be involved in Quant's network, or it could be XRP as well. I try to think to myself, because look, I don't know everything about Quant, but I know it's really interoperable with other networks. I know that is one of the huge aspects and attributes of Quant. Now, when I think about that, I think about how Quant and the XRP Ledger could work really well together, is what it sounds like to me, because the XRP Ledger is a decentralized exchange. So you could have one network working on the front face, talking and interoperating with all of these other networks, tying into a decentralized exchange for settlement. Now, I could be wrong about that, but that's what it feels like as a working relationship between these two different things. Seems like very complimentary to me. But I mean, like I said, I don't know everything about quant, but I do want to take a listen to this video with you. Check it out.
The central banks of Israel, Norway and Sweden have joined forces with the BIS Innovation Hub Nordic Centre in Project IceBreaker, which aims to explore how retail CBDC systems can be linked together to enable efficient international payments. Project IceBreaker is exploring a specific model linking national retail CBDC systems together. The IceBreaker Hub routes payments and allows national CBDC systems to talk to each other, despite being based on different technologies. In this project, different distributed ledger technologies used by each country for their proof-of-concept CBDC systems were connected to the IceBreaker Hub. Let's see how this works. Say Alice in Stockholm wants to send money to Noah in Tel Aviv to pay for a camera she bought online. When she enters Noah's payment address and the amount into her mobile app, the IceBreaker Hub helps her find the best available exchange rate. This is calculated from the rates foreign exchange providers submit to the IceBreaker Hub. Alice's payment is then broken down into two payments, one in Swedish e-krona to a foreign exchange provider in Sweden, and another in Israeli digital shekels from the foreign exchange provider in Israel to Noah. These two payments are coordinated using a form of digital escrow known as a hash time-locked contract, HTLC. The payment from Alice to the foreign exchange provider will only be released if the foreign exchange provider has paid Noah. If no foreign exchange provider can exchange Swedish e-krona for Israeli digital shekels, the IceBreaker Hub will find a bridge currency, for example, Norwegian krona, that can be exchanged for both Swedish e-krona and Israeli digital shekels, and will use that to bridge the gap. Swedish e-krona are exchanged for Norwegian krona, which is in turn exchanged for Israeli digital shekels. The Hub will always choose the payment path that is cheapest for the payer.
And there you have it. And I tell you, that looks to me a lot like this.
It's still a very inefficient approach. Now, obviously, we believe from the Ripple's perspective, with our Ripple net, we've sold that in certain markets. But with digital currency, I think you can go one step further. You can do these payments in a few different flavors. One is through an intermediary, which is really a bit more like the existing sort of correspondent model.
And that seems like what James Wallace is mentioning there, what we just saw from Project IceBreaker, right? It seems like the way they have that set up is through the intermediary, right? Just a normal path, but being able to do it faster instead of almost immediate, right? That's what that feels like to me. But as he said here, you could do this with adding in a digital asset. Let me just back this up one more time here.
But this, it's still a very inefficient approach. Now, obviously,
still a very inefficient approach.
We believe from the Ripple's perspective, with our Ripple net, we've sold that in certain markets. But with digital currency, I think you can go one step further.
With a digital currency, I think you can go one step further. And you know what? And when that digital currency resides on a ledger that also is a decentralized exchange, I think that one step further makes quite the difference. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.